Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and there's some news from a familiar Saturday Night Live star slash comedian who has been making quite a lot of news in the past year, and mostly for reasons that have been annoying people that aren't big fans of, social justice warriors. But I'm interested in seeing what this says. As it says from Variety, it says Pete Davidson asks fans to sign $1 million NDA, non-disclosure agreement, before comedy show. Wait, what? Let's get to the story, guys. As the article here says, whatever you do, never tweet at a Pete Davidson comedy show. The Saturday Night Live cast member has recently been doling out non-disclosure agreements before each of his recent comedy shows. Most recently, fans attending Davidson's stand-up at the Sydney Goldstein Theatre were asked to sign a lengthy contract that forbade them from tweeting or Instagramming any opinions about the performance. This already reminds me, I can't remember the celebrity, I feel like it was Lady Gaga or something, or Beyonce or someone like that, who was getting every bad thing about her that was said on the internet delivered to her or taken out of her tweets by a guy. She hired a guy to delete all the bad things that was in her Twitter feed so that she would only see nice things about herself. It's not a good way to live, guys. As it continues, it says, one attendee, Stacey Young, originally discovered by Consequence of Sound, posted the alleged NDA on her Facebook. It stated, the individual shall not give any interviews, offer any opinions or critiques, or otherwise participate by any means or in any forum whatsoever, including but not limited to blogs, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or any other social networking or other websites, whether now existing or hereafter created. You can't critique a comedian. That's crazy. And I quote, it says, I didn't want to sign it because it was basically saying that I wasn't able to comment on it or have an opinion, Young told Variety. The most you could say is no comment. After refusing to sign the NDA emailed to her from the venue, Young was given a full refund, but there was no additional information as to why this was happening. I called the box office and wondered if it was for a special, but they didn't have any information. The fine for breaking said NDA was a whopping $1 million. In the event of a breach of this agreement, individual shall pay company upon demand as liquidated damages the sum of $1 million plus any out-of-pocket expenses. Pete Davidson's like, oh, someone didn't like my terrible stand-up routine, and now I need $1 million, guys. It's to stop bullying. I guarantee you that's all it's for. It's just virtue. We need to stop bullying. As it continues, it says, I understand that comedians are protective of their material, Young added, but to not be allowed to express an opinion, whether I like it or not, is off-putting in an Orwellian thought police way. Sources confirmed to Variety that Davidson's NDA would again be handed out on Saturday prior to his show at Chicago's Vic Theater. A spokesperson for SNL star could not be reached for comment. Cell phone bans are nothing new in the world of modern-day live performances. In May, Louis C.K. banned the use of phones of his comedy shows, while Dave Chappelle and Madonna have also prohibited fans from sharing live materials without written consent. And that's all like copyright, intellectual property crap. But, I mean, it goes a lot further than that, folks. I mean, it's a fact that you aren't allowed to critique. You're not allowed to critique a performance. I mean, how full of himself or seriously mentally damaged can he possibly be when he thinks $1 million is necessary to pay reparations for someone not liking his performance, which, by the way, this tells me his performance is terrible. So you can go to the show, sign an agreement, and say, I really liked that show, and also be fined $1 million for like writing on Twitter, what a great show, or meh, people weren't really laughing. It's like $1 million. That is such a crazy, over the top thing to do, and is theft. As this article out of Forbes says, Pete Davidson and other comics who think an NDA will work should reconsider. And I mean, it goes into how this will only come back to bite him and also make him look ridiculous. I'm not going to go into all that, but I want to hear what you guys have to say regarding this. I mean, Pete Davidson has been in the news for several years off and on for making statements and claims that are rather social justice warrior-y. And also, I mean, SNL hasn't been funny in years. They've been bringing on these people that are, like, comedians should not be worried about being offended. Comedians, the whole idea is to say things so offensive much of the time that it makes people laugh, because people laugh at the truth. People hear the truth and they connect with the truth, and so they laugh. And that is one of the great things about it. When you have to stress about getting sued for $1 million if you offend him, never mind him offending you. I mean, it's just gotten so crazy. Do you remember when Ralphie May was alive and he had to he was apologizing while crying for saying something about someone, I forget exactly what it was, or there was a comedian who was kicked off of SNL not that long ago for saying controversial, offensive things. I can't even remember it, and I bet you can't either. You know why? Because nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's just throat noises. These things don't matter. And this is a big part of what is slowly, incrementally creating a culture of dependency and stupidity and weakness. Everywhere you go, I can't help but notice this. You see ads for, fashion. You see Gap ads and stuff like that. And I couldn't help but notice this. No matter where I go in the world, I see the women have like baseball caps on sideways, and they're man spreading, legs completely open, in all the ads, and their shirts are all ripped up, and they look manly and tough, which is whatever, fine. But then you see all the men's stuff, and they have little scarves, and their legs are all together, like Justin Trudeau at a meeting, and they're clearly trying to deliver an agenda to make women men and men women, which whatever you want to do in your own life and however you want to live your life is fine. It's just when this agenda is playing out, it's a clearly anti-family, anti-woman, anti-man, anti-gender, anti-nature kind of position to take. The government is doing this because there's obviously some kind of conspiracy here. Obviously, there's a reason for this. And all the while, people like Sarah Silverman and Chelsea Handler, who used to be super offensive, Sarah Silverman wearing blackface, Chelsea Handler like chasing a little person around on her show and like making extremely racist jokes and stuff like that. People laughed, people connected, and then comes a 2% percentile weak public that hates things that trigger them because they're so freaking weak and so privileged and sitting on their ivory throne their whole life, obviously never dealing with any hardship. They get offended by everything, and they're calling everyone else privileged. The people that are underprivileged, they're calling them privileged, while they're the privileged ones because they have so little to complain about in their life that they look for things like comedy to complain about, or even going as far as Louis C.K., which was a very controversial show where he made claims about the Parkland shooting victims and everything like that. Even in that case, say it. Laugh if you like. Don't watch it if you don't like it. Deal with it. It's comedy. And all these SJW comedians now that are apologizing, that are coming out against other comics for being quote unquote offensive, while you look back like 5 or 10 years and they were some of the most offensive people. It's so crazy. Talk to Sam Tripoli, the comedian, about where Chelsea Handler was years ago, selling sex tapes to get famous and making racist jokes and doing like sketches with little people where she like dressed them up and everything. That wasn't that long ago. Everyone just looks the other way now on that, and it's like, oh well, she's such an arbiter of decency and stopping offensive. So it reminds me, actually, I got to go back here. Conservatives in the 70s were like the ones that, I'm offended by everything, very aristocratic. Now it's like the far left 2%, again, it's like 2% of people that feel this way, but the media blows it up because they have an agenda to make people weak and make people dependent. And if people are dependent, they are on their knees to the state and banking system while they're pushing inflation up and the central banks are printing vast currency and there's more laws coming into effect. Guns are taken, self-defense is ripped away, and everyone becomes a baby, a big, giant baby who's dependent on mommy and daddy government, which they spend most of their childhood in school listening to and being indoctrinated by. This is a problem, and I'm sorry I moved from Pete Davidson to this, but I can't help but go down this path because I see that this is clearly part of the same agenda. It's just, I don't know. I'm just getting really sick of these attitudes, and most people don't feel this way, But the media is really trying to make people feel that way by indoctrinating them with, ridiculous Hollywood, movies, and indoctrinating them with ridiculous, TV shows, with ridiculous news stories by Salon and the likes. It's just, obviously, we need to start strengthening up. I think the saying goes, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. We had the good times. It created weak men, and we're currently dealing with the weak men that are creating the hard times. How many decades will go by before it changes? I don't know. But it's going to take some pretty hard times to get people back to the point where people can actually be self-sustainable. And I don't know how else to put it, guys. We need to strengthen up individuality, independence. The hallmark of freedom itself is simply just responsibility. That's all it is. And people have become more irresponsible, stupid, weak than ever. Divisive, clashing against each other, fighting over which color, red or blue, can rule over them and enslave them with a collectivist government, organized crime racket. Very sad. Anyway, I will continuously go into this stuff, and I don't care if I'll get my YouTube channel taken down. Don Cherry got fired for saying "you people." I'm going to definitely be ripped off of YouTube very soon, especially with the terms of service changing right away. So find us on float.app, flote.app, and pledge to us if you can to keep us alive past this YouTube purge with the COPPA laws and everything coming in. And YouTube says, don't be edgy or swear. And it's like, okay, fine. And then they're like, but also don't say things that kids might watch. And it's like, okay, then which is it? It's control of speech, control of the mind, control of the masses. Break free, good people. Till next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here at Wham, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We cannot do it without you guys. Every donation is extremely, extremely appreciated as we're getting incredibly shadow banned. We've lost 80% of our audience since January of 2019 and counting. They are ripping us apart here on YouTube, and the only thing we could do in the meantime as we prepare for the next big step is to ask for help from the viewers that support our free information that we try to post on a daily basis. You can also find us on Subscribestar, where just $1 a month, that's all it takes, $1 a month is all it takes to truly make a huge difference. If everyone gave $1 a month, it would change everything for independent media, and we could win this information war, and we can defeat the mainstream medias eventually. And of course, on Subscribestar, we post subscriber-only content that you'll only see on Subscribestar. So make sure to pledge there, become a patron. That makes a huge difference, guys. And also, don't forget to check out our Bitcoin address below in the comments and description, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on the alternatives. We will likely be deleted by YouTube in the next 2 years. It's already happening on a vast scale, so make sure to find us on float.app, that's flote.app, at Josh Sigurdson, as well as at Wham, W-A-M. Float.app is replacing every social media, and I mean, it's just incredible the opportunities it provides for not just creators, but for the average person who wants to get away from these nannies telling them what they can or cannot see. They plan to replace Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon. You could subscribe to us on Float and pledge with cryptocurrency. It's really innovative. We are also on BitChute at World Alternative Media, as well as so many others, Minds, PocketNet. You can find us at World Alternative Media on Instagram. There's many options. And finally, don't forget to join us at Anarchapulco 2020, the famous event, the best liberty event known to mankind, other than perhaps Anarcho Vegas 2020. There are 2 major events coming up that we are extremely excited about, and you can use promo code WHAM, that's W-A-M, and save 10% on your tickets to these legendary conferences. There's so many amazing people speaking there. You won't want to miss it. So make sure to support in any way you can, even if it's just sharing our videos, pressing like, pressing to be notified. Anything helps, folks. You are the change you wish to see. Thanks for watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.